Welcome to the Park Fanatic Podcast. Please remain seated while the podcast is in motion.
Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting and dynamic episode of the Park Fanatic Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Gabriel.
And I'm your other host, Garrett. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We have an excellent show for you today. We have a bunch of topics to cover, don't we, Gabe?
This is like one of the episodes that I feel is the most jam-packed full of information. It's just like every episode I feel like, how are we going to fit this much stuff into this episode? And then the next episode it's pushed even more, and I feel like this is like, even though this is just episode 7, it's like past the brim. It really is.
We're going to try our best to keep everything under an hour for this episode, but if we go over a little bit, it's just because we have so much good stuff to share with you guys today.
And there's the reason why we have so much information is because we're going to be talking about, I apologize if I mispronounce it, Geauga Lake.
Geauga Lake, that's right. That's going to be our main topic today. We're going to talk about the history and the story behind that amazing theme park that was out there.
And if you guys ever look up information based on Geauga Lake, you know that there is just a massive amount of information surrounding that topic, and it's kind of overwhelming in a way. And with our research on the topic, we had to only jot down some of the major things because there are so many little small things that happen to that park, and changing in management and people buying out, and
it's such a sad story.
It's crazy.
Overall.
It's nuts. It's really nuts. And that's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to give you the abridged version of that. We're going to give you the Cliff Notes version of Geauga Lake.
Yeah.
And shout out to Steve Mosley. He emailed us at parkfanatic@gmail.com, and he said he loved the show, and that we had mentioned something about Geauga Lake, and we
had mentioned Guinea Lake.
We said Guinea Lake, and he messaged us saying,
hey.
That was my home park. That's not how you pronounce it. And he said that, but he really wanted us to talk about Geauga Lake. He was very, very much interested in hearing a topic about it. And so, Steve, this is to you. This episode is for you. We're doing a topic that you suggested.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sending in that wonderful topic, by the way. We love it when our listeners send us in an idea or whatever you guys think we should be talking about, because, again, it is all about the listeners.
Yeah.
And we want to cover what you guys want to hear. So today, before we get into our main topic, Gabe, I think we have a little bit of some haunt news, a little bit of some preview events, and then I believe you went to Not Soak City. Is that right?
Yeah, I went to Not Soak City with Nikki, and you guys have heard that name plenty of times. It's my fiance. And 2 friends of ours, Chase and Megan. It was my first time going to Not Soak City. I'd never been before. I'm not a huge water park fan.
Yeah.
It's just, like, I like going and I end up having a great time. It's just never really my thing. I'm more of a roller coaster guy, you know,
me too.
Dark rides, things like that.
You know me. I'm the coaster guy.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd prefer to keep my shirt on for rides, honestly.
I take my shirt off on all rides. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they have a real problem with him at some of the parks. Sir,
put your shirt back on, please. Please, sir.
It's so freeing.
It's so freeing.
It's so hot out.
It's so in the wind. No, but, you know, I'm just not a water park guy, and I always have fun when I go. And the same thing happened here. I wasn't super pumped about going, and then when I got there and I did one of my first rides, I was having a blast. Like, I had so much fun. And I think, honestly, like, the big ride of the day for all 4 of us was their Pacific Spin. And if you guys never been to Soak City, you've only been to Knott's, you must have seen it. It's this massive funnel, this pink and yellow funnel that you float into in, like, big rafts.
Yeah, you drop into that, you get about halfway up the funnel, and you come back down. It's a really fun ride. They put them at a lot of water parks nowadays.
Yeah, and did you know that it's a 132-foot long tunnel?
Whoa.
And it's 75 feet high. So the drop is 75 feet. And that may not sound very big to a whole bunch of people, but that's rather large for a ride where you're sitting free in a raft. With no restraints and no seat buckles or anything. I think when we went down, Chase was going down backwards. And after the ride, he looked at me and goes, Gabe, I don't think I've ever seen fear on your face like I saw on this ride.
You get a good pop of airtime when you come up that slope, don't you?
You actually feel like you're going to flip over.
Yeah.
You feel like you're going to flip over. It's a little scary because, especially because it's 4 people in a raft. And that's rather heavy, like after a while. Just 4 people added up all together. Even if you have 2 small girls and then 2 large guys, it's still a lot of weight.
Oh, yeah.
And you go really far up that wall, and even after that first initial go up on the wall, you float back the other side and go up the wall. So it's like 2 or 3 good,
like
really high banked, like floaters.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a really weird feeling.
Yeah,
but it was so much fun. It was the highlight of the day. It really was.
Really? What other slides did you like at Not Scary?
Scary Farm's on the brain for you this time.
I'm ready for Scary Farm, man.
Yeah, it's on the brain for you this
excited
time.
for that. But tell me, other than that slide, what other slides did you like at Soak City? Not Scary Farm.
Not Scary Farm.
Not Soak City.
I enjoyed Malibu Run, Laguna Storm, Water Tower, Old Man Falls. Those are some of the more popular ones.
What's Old Man Falls? Is that kind of like the straight down drop one?
Yeah, Old Man Falls has 3 different portions to it. So there's a yellow one and 2 orange ones. The yellow one is completely enclosed, and it's mostly turns and going down to the bottom. One of the orange ones is a complete drop one. So you're laying down, cross your arms, cross your legs.
Wet your pants.
It's dark in the tunnel at first, so it's completely wet your pants, literally. It's enclosed at first, so you go down a little bit of a dip, and then you level out, and then right when the big drop portion happens, then it becomes an open slide.
Oh, so you don't see what's coming.
No, you don't.
You're just thrown out into this huge drop, basically.
Exactly. And I didn't do that because I'm not into that sort of a thing. That's just not my thing at all. Nikki and Chase and Megan all did it. They had a blast. But Nikki even told me that she enjoyed the other orange one even more. It was something similar, but it was like essentially Bunny Hills.
Yeah, like a double down.
Like a double down. It's exactly a double down.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Totally.
And I had fun on it. Like, I honestly really enjoyed it because I went down it and I thought, oh, this one's going to be fun. It doesn't look that intense. Dude, you go really fast on that one.
And then you get thrown.
It's not even, like, straight down. You're just picking up speed. And on the second hill, you're scared you're going to get airtime and fly off that thing.
Totally.
I'm pretty sure the second time I went on it, I flew off a little bit.
Just
I got
bit.
like 2 or 3 inches of airtime.
Just a little, little sketch to make your day a little more interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It was intense, but it was fun. And we were calling the bigger drop one the wedgie maker because the water just flies up your butt and just completely pushes your bathing suit into your butt.
I feel like that's crazy. A lot of water slides. That's one of the reasons why I don't really like the water park so much, just because I don't like my butt full of water.
You get off of that ride and it looks like your butt's trying to eat your trunks.
Oh, now that's an image. Do you all have that painted in your heads right now?
Don't think about it with me. That's gross. Even I think that's gross. And then the other one, Laguna Storm Water Tower, was you ride with 2 people and it's a dark tube and you just go down. I mean, that was rather normal. I mean, it was fun because it was dark.
Yeah, those are always fun. You get whipped around. You get those G-forces
against
the wall.
It was kind of unfair. They had random portions where there was just a big hole in the ceiling portion of the tube, and it would just splash you with water. Like, it would just completely just splash you in the face. And the first time it happened, I'm just like, that's not fair. And then the other one, Malibu Run, it has 4 different tubes. One is completely enclosed, 2 are half enclosed, and then 1 is completely open. I went on it twice. I went one that was half enclosed and the other one that was open. And they were laughing at me because when I was coming down the second time, all they heard was, "Oh God, not backwards!" And I came out of the tunnel backwards and just completely ate it into the water.
Oh gosh!
Like, I was the only we felt weird because we could not stay afloat. Like, when we hit the water, we could not stay afloat. No matter what we did, we would always hit the water and just go in. Everyone we watched completely got off fine, floated. Jumped off their raft. No, we had to eat crap into the water every single time.
No dive, right? Or butt dive, I guess.
Yes. But it was fun. Like, the day was fun. I got a good tan going.
Nice.
It was great. I
Got
mean,
rid of that farmer's tan a little bit?
a little bit. Just a tad bit.
I call mine the theme park tan, because that's the only place I ever get that line is from when I'm
I try to wear
theme
sleeveless
parks.
shirts when I go to the theme park so that I can at least get, like, less of a farmer's tan.
See, I feel like I'm showing off my farmer's tan when I wear the tank top, because it's like, hey, everyone, look at this perfect line.
Look how pale I am. Isn't it awesome?
Totally.
Yeah,
Well,
but
sounds good. So what would you give the whole park as a whole? Like, what would you rate it out of 10?
out of 10, I'd probably give it a good 7, 7.5.
Because it's not the biggest, best water park in all of California.
I was surprised at how small it was.
It is small.
It wasn't very big. There wasn't that many rides. The lines weren't terrible, but at the same time, the time that it takes to load people onto the rides and wait people to get off and all that stuff takes a while. So I don't know. I mean, I gave it a 7.5 because I had so much fun, but there really wasn't that much to do.
Well, that's what we at the Park Fanatics are giving you guys over there. 7.5 stars out of 10 for Knott's Soak City.
Dude, you have Scary Farm in the brain, man.
I want to talk about Scary Farm, but before we talk about Scary Farm, I had a trip to Knott's too.
With Extended Queue.
Extended Queue! We totally got to hang out. After D23, they had a spare day before they had to go back home, and they very kindly invited me out to join them at their trip to Knott's.
I was very sad I wasn't able to make it. I know I jumped on the Periscope to say hello just for a moment.
Yeah, they were periscoping the whole day, man.
Yeah, they were all over. I was sitting in my editing bay just watching some of their Periscopes, but I was sad that I wasn't able to go, and I know that they know I was there in spirit.
In spirit,
at least going on those rides with them. And I actually listened to their last episode, which was their coverage of their Knott's trip, and it was a very good episode. I encourage people to go listen to that episode.
That was such a good episode. But so funny, hilarious.
If you follow them on Twitter, you'll notice that they did they made like a drinking game for the episode, and it's like every time they say Garrett, take a shot of this, or like every time they say this thing, you have to drink a whole beer. Man, if I were to actually have done that because I was at work, I would have been trashed.
Totally. I mean, that was a dangerous idea of a
slippery slope into being trashed.
So we have to say thank you for all the shout outs on your episode, because it was practically all shout outs.
Yeah, right? It was ridiculous. And you guys are just so nice. So thanks for all of it. And
thank you so much.
We're trading shout outs too, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah, and they had a great time, man. We got on almost every ride. It was a really dead day. They showed up the day that school went back in session. So that was a great time for them to show up because there was no one there. And we hit absolutely everything. I think they only missed
Accelerator.
Ghost Rider.
Accelerator and Ghost Rider, because Accelerator was closed and Ghost Rider they just didn't want to deal with it because it's just too painful.
Yeah, definitely. But we got on. We did the Scream and Swing. We did Voyage to the Iron Reef. They did Pony Express. Coast Rider. Tiffany did not like Coast Rider.
Yeah, Tiffany hated Coast Rider,
which is funny because I have my roommate and she hates it for the same reason, because it really, really feels like you're gonna get dumped out onto Western on that street behind Knott's.
That's the fun part of like that type of ride. The little mouse coasters is not having bank turns, and it's the thrilling feeling of being thrown off. Yeah, the laterals.
Yeah, totally. That's what it's about. But that really gets to people.
My dad hates those rides. My dad hates heights in general. And he went on this ride thinking it was going to be fun, and he hated his life. Oh, wow. He did not have fun.
Because it's like a family ride.
Every single turn, he would just go, it's like holding in the fear. I don't know what that sound was, but it was this guttural fear noise. I don't know. It was ridiculous.
So aside from that one, we got on Montezuma's Revenge. We did Jaguar. They weren't too big of fans of Jaguar.
Yeah, I mean, Jaguar, honestly, to me, is one of those rides where I only go on it during September just so I could go over whatever they're building for Haunt.
You're such a Haunt nerd.
That's the only reason why I go on it. I want to go like a gunslinger.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Do you do that with Ghost Rider, too, on the Ghost Rider lift?
Well, I like Ghost Rider in general. Yeah. I don't mind it being that rough. I still enjoy it.
So it's got the dual purpose.
dual purpose of going on it to enjoy a roller coaster as well as looking in the background to look at haunt build.
He's going, what is that? Oh, crap.
Yeah, and then I'm like getting shaken around, my vision's going blurry, trying to look at haunt build.
I actually was noticing like a couple little builds going on last time, and I was trying to peek behind me, and I ended up knocking my head too much just trying to look behind me on Ghost Rider.
Good job, dude.
I know, I'm not the smartest roller coaster rider.
Amateur move. Amateur move.
Right? The coaster fanatic of all people. Hey, I still saw the haunt builds. You would be proud of me.
I'm very proud of you for looking for the haunt builds. Usually I'm the one doing that.
Yeah, there you go. So I think that pretty much covers it. I mean, it was great to hang out with them. Tiffany and Steven, you guys are so much fun. Like, we have to do that again sometime. Thank you for including me with your group. It was so much fun. I really can't thank you enough. Had a blast, guys.
Yeah, I'm just sad I wasn't there. And, it was funny because listening to their episode, they just could not get over how much information you have in your head about Knott's Berry Farm. There's the small little details, man. You're all about it. And
I love that about it. There is so many little tiny details that nobody knows about at Knott's, and I love that level of detail. It almost matches Disney. Nothing matches Disney, obviously, but all the little things that you can find, the little special secrets and whatnot, really make it a special park, and that's what I love about it.
They're almost two different things, though. Like, Disney's level of detail is a different type of level of detail than Knott's is.
True.
It's hard to describe, and it would take me a long time to find the words.
That's another whole episode.
Yeah, it's a whole other episode of me trying to find the words to describe what I just said. But it's like Disney has their Haunted Mansion where, they have cobwebs there. They have like the broken glass. They have the candelabras, like that. The wallpaper. That's that type of detail.
Oh, Haunted Mansion cannot be matched by anything.
And then Knott's detail is we're looking in the peek-in. There's a barber giving a shave to a guy, who happens to be the same guy who's on the wanted poster, and then the wanted poster winks at you.
Really?
Like, look at the wanted poster next time inside the barbershop. Like, his eye moves.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Or, like, if you go look at the other peek-in with the guys playing cards, every single guy is cheating.
Yeah, yeah.
Every single one is cheating in a different way.
Yeah, totally.
Things like that, or, like, going over to Boot Hill and feeling, like, the heartbeat in the grave. And even the small detail jokes like Baby Rattlers. Like, that's hilarious.
Baby Rattlers?
Have you never seen that?
No, what is that?
So as you're going in the Boot Hill, on the left-hand side, there's like this little wagon, and right next to the wagon is a small or medium-sized wooden bucket with a wooden top and then a grate. Oh. And on it says, in white lettering, it says, "Beware, baby rattlers."
Yeah.
And so everyone thinks, there's rattlesnakes in there. And you go up to it, it's literally baby toys that are rattles.
Rattlers.
You get it?
Baby rattlers. How corny.
That's my type of joke, though, right?
Oh, man. That's the knee slapper right
Knott's
there.
got the knee slapper this time.
Knott's got the knee slapper.
It wasn't Gabe. It was Knott's that got the knee slapper.
You'll probably get one, too. Don't you worry.
The episode isn't over yet, so I haven't escaped the knee slapper yet. But yeah, it's like that kind of stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous, and I don't think you could beat the level of detail of actually literally picking up a ghost town and dropping it into Buena Park.
Exactly.
So they're two different things, and I like to think of them as two different things.
Totally.
I don't like comparing
together
them
like that.
It's like comparing Halloween Horror Nights and Knott's Scary Farm. Two completely different things.
Totally.
Knott's Berry Farm, Disneyland, two completely different things. The only thing that's similar is the fact that they're theme parks.
And they're so special.
Yeah, they're both very special in their own right. And I enjoy both of them for what they are.
So, yeah,
going on to the next thing, and still staying on the Knott's topic, 2 days ago, we had the Knott's Scary Farm preview event for pass holders.
So cool.
And I was there at 6 a.m. to get my wristband with Garrett. We were there waiting, and there was already a line at 6 a.m. because they were giving away some grab bags.
Yeah.
But they also gave out some cool swag that were some bumper stickers,
pins,
and
really cool
some
pin.
fake business cards that looked for Paranormal Inc., which we'll get into a little bit later.
Yeah.
But they were giving those out in the morning. As soon as you got your wristband, you were free to go until like 8 p.m. when they were letting everybody in. I was lucky enough to get the day off. So I was there at Knott's all day.
Yeah,
just
live tweeting it.
I was live tweeting, periscoping, a whole bunch of stuff.
By the way, are you guys following us on Periscope? You should be following us on Periscope.
We do Periscopes as often as we can, so you would enjoy the topics that we talk about. I'm very animated.
Yeah.
Very, very animated.
Well, you're an
in our
animated
past.
kind of guy.
That's true. I am very animated. I'm literally a cartoon.
Whoa. Calm down, Gabe. Calm down.
I'm not.
Tone
not,
it down.
What are you talking about? I'm not excited.
Hey. It's okay. Don't worry. We'll make it through this.
I'm confused. So I was there at Knott's all day. Nobody was there. It was a ghost town.
That's your knee slapper. That's the only one you.
There was nobody there. So we got to go on all the rides, and I say we because I was hanging out with the Not Scary Farm updaters.
Oh, cool.
All day. I jumped on not Ghost Rider. I jumped on Silver Bullet, and I was going up the lift. The guy sitting next to me, which was a very big guy. He was broad-shouldered. He was like I am, but much
totally.
bigger. And
Gabe
he was like,
used to be a
what's going
football
on?"
player. If you didn't know that, he's
Yeah.
got the football player build.
Yeah. So I'd take up the space in the ride as much as he does. But we were talking, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm Gabe Montoya. I'm part of Park Fanatics. And then the two guys next to him were like, oh, the Park Fanatics, we know you guys.
Hey.
I was like, what? And they're like, oh, we're the Not Scary Farm updaters. I was like, oh, I know who you guys are, too. So we connected
great.
on the ride, and then we just hung out all day long.
Nice. I love when that happens. That's the greatest part about going by yourself. And people think I'm weird for this, but I love going by myself because by the end of the day, I have a group of friends that I end up making and hanging out with.
Yeah, no, it was a great time. I enjoyed
so
my
fun.
time with them.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you ended up meeting up with those guys because I ended up meeting up with them later in the night when you guys were waiting in line. So that was really cool to hang out with them. They were really chill people.
Yeah.
And they were just about as
Crazy as I am about this place. And
so excited.
so the Not Scary Farm updaters, they are a whole bunch of guys that just update on Haunt all year round, whatever they want. And it's not just one guy, it's a whole bunch of guys.
Yeah, it's a crew.
And the other two guys that were there, I think they go by two different names for themselves. One is the guy with the really broad shoulders, like the bigger guy was the Zombie Man of Not Scary Farm. And I think, what laugh was that?
What? It's like a mutated Mickey Mouse. It's one
That
that's
was
been
slightly disturbing.
that's Mickey Mouse after he's been plunged in like some nuclear waste or something.
Moving on. The other guy I think was Not Scary Farm Updater 1. No. So those were the other two guys. I apologize, guys, if I got that wrong. I don't have it written down in front of me.
You can smack us next time you see us.
Pretty much. And we just hung out all day, went on rides, did laser tag, just
You did
chilled
the laser
out.
tag, huh?
Yeah, the laser tag was fun, except for the freaking guy who ran it. It was actually playing with us, and he was just following me, shooting my gun the entire time. He's just like, better move, better move, better move. And I'm like, no, I'm a sitting down and sniping people out type of guy. Leave me alone.
See, he was trying to stop people from sniping.
Yeah, I wanted to snipe. That's my thing.
Sniper, no sniping.
Okay. Knee slapper for Garrett.
I just got one. This
That's
is
a
a
knee
knee slapping episode right here.
Jeez, man, this
We're
episode
corny
is full of knee
people.
slappers.
Sorry, guys.
My legs are gonna hurt after this episode.
I'm going to have to wear a knee brace after all these.
and so, we spent the rest of the day together and we had a great time. And then I ran into two other people. Michael Gomez, who...
Cool kid.
Yeah, he's a cool kid. Knows a lot about Haunt.
Oh, yeah.
Knows a ton about just Knott's in general.
He is a Knott's fanatic. Totally.
He really is. He's the definition.
Yeah, totally.
And I ran into him in the morning. I shouted out on Twitter. I said, hey, if you see me, shout out my name and I'll give you a button. 15 minutes later, he's like, hey, Gabe.
Yeah.
So I gave him a button, chatted with him for a long time.
Nicely done, Michael.
And then while waiting in line for the actual event, I ran into the Knott's crew.
Nice.
The Knott's crew is on Instagram, and they always repost a lot of my he reposts a lot of my photos.
Our photos.
Our photos.
They're ours,
See, I got them mixed up. Got the words mixed up.
together.
He reposts a lot of our photos of
You got
Knott's
some
and
great stuff.
Haunt and a whole bunch of stuff in general.
Yeah.
And man, this kid just he really wants to be in horror. He loves the horror genre. He loves Haunt.
Passionate.
He's extremely passionate, and he has a lot of information in his head about all of it. And he just wanted to pick my brain about everything horror related. He wanted to know what my favorite horror movie was. He wanted to know what horror movie I hated. We differed on opinions, and he would debate on what he thought, and it was a very interesting and engaging conversation about all things horror. It was cool, and I encourage him to pursue his passion. He was very passionate.
Totally.
And I want him to keep going because that passion is the type of...
That's what you need to get to succeed in this industry.
Yeah, that passion is what's going to take you past the point of just being a fan and taking you into the industry and actually doing what you want to do and doing what these people do. Mm-hmm. That passion. So I encourage him to keep that passion.
So really. Good on you, Knots Crew. Yeah, we love you over here.
So shout out to you, Knots Crew, man. Straight up. So then after we were finished talking with Knots Crew, that's actually right when we started to go into the event, and my God, brain explode.
Amazing!
Boosh.
Such a good setup. Holy crap, with all the scares and the lights and the fog.
And the music.
Oh my God.
Man, I think every single haunt fan that walked in there completely, like, heart skipped a beat and started, like, shaking because they were so excited. I know that walking out, I said that my level of excitement was for a haunt before going in was at about an 8 or a 9, and then coming out of that event, I was like 12. At a 15. Like, I was dying to go. Like, I'm just so ready for it now.
Totally.
And
so,
the scare actors were great. They were doing their thing. They had a good mixture. They had Fiesta de los Muertos. They had Ghost Town Street people. They had Carnival people. A whole bunch of them running around.
Totally.
And I saw some of my favorite scare actors that were there. My favorite ones because they scared the crap out of me. Just the way they look gives me shivers.
Yeah, I saw the picture that you posted with the guy with the white face.
Yeah,
and he's the black pinstripe.
He's death.
He's death.
Literally, that is his character. He's Death of Ghost Town Streets, and
he's so creepy. He just sits there.
He just stares at people. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't make any noises. He just stalks people, and it's creepy as crap because he has all black eyes except for like little white dots, and it's crazy. I was actually talking to the guy who plays him at Scare LA. And he told me that when he auditioned for Ghost Town Streets, he walked into the audition. He's like, "I'm auditioning for Death," and they're just like, what?
You can't be
He's like,
death.
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 So eventually he got that part, and, I think it's a great addition. But he was there, and a lot of other people were there. The Green Goblin, a whole bunch of people, and it was just so much fun.
And the event was started out when all the music came up, and then they wheeled out
Jeff Tucker,
wrapped up in a straitjacket
with the Hannibal Lecter mask.
Yes, with the Hannibal Lecter mask. Two very, very pretty girls
who offered just a little bit of help.
Yeah, just a smidge, and I'm sure he appreciated that.
Actually, the one on the left was the one that spanked me and trapped.
Oh, good. Glad you have that memory with her.
Oh, trust me, I'll never forget that.
So it was, he was dressed up as the ringmaster again, right?
Yeah, the ringmaster. He had his red coat on, but when they wheeled him out, he was supposed to look like Hannibal Lecter.
Oh yeah, he totally looked like Hannibal Lecter.
I think it was funny. I don't know if it was Jeff DePauli who said it, but he said, "Now I know what they do with Jeff Tucker when he's not on stage. They just keep him in that the entire time."
Yeah.
So some of the, I'm sure everybody who's listening has already heard the news on everything that's announced that day, but we're going to cover the major announcements, the ones that were brand new announcements for that event. And
there was only a few because they pretty much released everything at Scare LA.
And then leading up to Scare LA / Scare LA / a little bit between Scare LA and the preview.
Yeah, they released a few on social media and on their website.
The three that they left were the three big ones, though, the major big ones.
So tell me, Gabe, what was the first major big one out of those three?
So the first major big one is something called My Bloody Clementine.
Ooh, I think this is the one I'm excited for the most.
This is the mine ride. It's finally not going to be the Witch's Keep, and it's going to have live actors back in the ride again.
Which is so cool. They've been how long has it been since they've had live actors in there, you think?
I think the last time they had live actors was when the theme was Invasion Beneath, when aliens drilled up into the earth or something weird like that. That was the last time that they had
and that was
actors,
how many years?
Or maybe before that, because I don't actually remember actors. I remember there being robotic aliens shooting air guns at you.
Totally. They had props and stuff.
I was not a fan of that.
It must have been a long time ago that they actually had the live talent in the ride, in the caves.
Yeah, honestly, I can't remember the last time they did. Maybe it was Black Widow's Cavern was maybe the last time. Well, somebody tweet us or message us on Facebook to correct us.
Someone will.
Because off the top of my head, I can't. Yeah, that's true. I can't remember when exactly that happened. But so My Bloody Clementine, the summary of that is There's no tale more vicious and vengeful than that of My Bloody Clementine. Take a grim ride through the transformed Calico Mine Ride, where Clementine and her father were brutally murdered centuries ago. The wretched spirits roam the tunnels in search of those who killed them. This year, the ride-through maze will feature live monsters out for revenge at the train tracks every turn. So, it gave me chills, man. Like this, just looking at this picture. Like, I think little kids and little kid monsters, little kid ghosts are scary as crap.
I remember on the last episode I said there's something so creepy about an innocent child being corrupted by an evil spirit. There's something so terrifying about that to me.
It's really, really creepy.
Oh, and this girl is crazy. It was great that they brought out Clementine on stage.
So right when the video started, you see this little girl walk across the stage holding a bunny, and she's dressed in timely clothes. And it was actually Jeff Tucker's daughter.
Yeah. Maggie, right?
Maggie was actually the character that she played in Possessed, which was another show at Not Scary Farm a couple years back.
She's really into it already. She's what, like 9, 8?
Yeah,
7?
I don't know how little she is, but she's into it. And whenever I hear her talk on the podcast on Jeff's 91 Reasons, she's so articulate for her age. Like, it's ridiculous. She's talking about how she likes playing Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm a baby. I can't play that game. She plays that game like it's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez.
Well, look at who her father is.
Good point. Good point. So My Bloody Clementine was that first announcement, and everyone kind of freaked out.
Which, if you guys were carrying or watching on social media and they released those clues, they had one of the clues was a ripped up bunny covered in blood with a miner attached to it.
Everybody knew that it was going to be Mine Ride, but we didn't know in what aspect.
Yeah, so we finally figured that out at the end of all that, which was really neat.
And I think like the only thing people are really talking about with this one is whether or not there should be live talent in the Mine Ride ever.
Yeah, I'm sure Rick West over at TPA is going, no.
No, yeah, Rick doesn't like the fact that people are going to be in the Mine Ride again, and I watched him on his Periscope.
Too bad.
He doesn't like it because he feels like they're going to ruin the ride. But like he doesn't want people in there to really damage a historic ride.
They have the money to fix the ride if they damage something. The worst case scenario is that it has to get shut down, fixed up, and then it gets reopened again, and they wouldn't do it next year. But I don't think that's going to be an issue. They've obviously, with this last refurbishment, had that kind of mindset. They had to have.
They must have planned ahead of time for all that stuff.
Totally. Because they've been wanting to do this for years, bring live talent back. Because they used to have it on the log ride, too, but they had to stop doing that. Yeah. Because of, OSHA standards or something.
That's the same reason. It was the same thing with Mine Ride. It wasn't built for people being in there. Yeah. Hopefully, with the remodel, they did plan on having some haunt layover for it. But, in my opinion, I don't care either way. Yeah. Like, it's cool to have people in there, but at the same time, it's like, I don't care if there's not people in there. I just like going on the Mine Ride in general. I prefer it not to be messed up because it's such a piece of history and they put so much work into it. But like you said, I think it's easy enough.
They have to fix it.
Yeah, I think it's easy enough to fix if they do anything.
Which they shouldn't. They should. I'm sure they have a detailed plan on how to avoid that. So
I'm sure they tell their monsters, like, do not, under any circumstance, ruin this ride, or you will be fired.
Or get in front of the train. Don't get in front of the train.
I don't know.
So, Gabe, yay or nay on My Bloody Clementine?
Yay.
Oh,
yay, totally, because I'm 100% excited for a new theme for the Mine Ride. Regardless of whether it had live actors in it or not, I'm excited for a new theme, especially this one because it sounds super creepy. By the way, from the demented mind of Daniel Miller. This is the first time he's ever worked on this ride, so I'm excited. How about you, yay or nay?
Oh, I'm so excited because I've heard so many people get really amped about having the talent back in there because it just hasn't happened in so long. So I've never experienced that myself.
It's scary.
I'm really excited to see what that actually is like because when I've been through it before, but it wasn't something that stuck in my mind. Like, oh, I have to go do that a second time or something. But this year, I probably will have to do that 3 or 4 or 5, 6 times.
Well, we have front of the line access, so we're good to go. Yeah. But I think the most scariest part about the Mine Ride is the fact that you don't really have any control of how fast you're going. It's a set line and a set speed, and you're going slow.
And I'm lazy, so I like to not have to walk. You're
going to enjoy that, but you're going to be scared as crap when you're going really slow. and people are jumping out at you. But it's cool.
So after that, they announced, 2 more things. Is that right?
Yeah, the next major thing was something called Paranormal Inc. Case 13, The Haunting of Hayden Hill.
And this is so cool the way they set this up.
Yeah, they had the fake crew come out and kind of talk about...
They weren't fake, man. That was obviously real.
That was clearly a real group of ghost hunters.
Yeah, they were really filming their show, and they were really excited to be there. And all of a sudden, when
Not fake at all. Not fake.
No, when they came out on stage, they were explaining their show to the whole, to Jeff Tucker, and all of a sudden, all this equipment that they had on them started
going
beeping,
crazy.
Going off, and they're going, no, I just calibrated this. This can't be wrong. Wait,
some guy just gets pulled off stage,
literally,
man.
like, yanked
and
you don't
dragged
see what,
across the stage.
Dragged off, and it was so
And then
creepy.
blood splattered up on the wall, and you can hear him screaming. And then Jeff just goes on about his business, saying, like, the information, and the guy's like, a class 4 level apparition just decapitated our friend. And Jeff's just like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Don't lose your head over it, guys. God.
Oh, man.
Oh, I know.
Knee
Go
slapper.
ahead. All right. I told you we're going to have to get some knee braces after this.
Jesus.
So, really cool, though. That was the one where if you saw the periscopes about the clue boxes, they had a little card, the paranormal activity card. Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you found when you followed that?
So the card had a phone number on it. And once you called that phone number, it gave you like a pre-recorded spiel about the show, and you could press a few different numbers, and it usually led you to like a voicemail, but it usually was full, and then it would just hang up on you. There was one that actually led you to a website. When you go to that website, it has the phone number on again. It has a little bit more information about the episodes, the fake episodes.
They're not fake, man. You keep saying that, but you're going to be seriously surprised when a ghost comes and grabs you by the back of the head or something.
It slaps me around a bit.
Because what we saw... explain what you found when you sent the...
So you could send your email in and say,
from
like,
this
oh,
website.
I've had some hauntings. So I sent an email in and got an email very quickly back. And it said, oh, hey, this is Chad from Paranormal Inc., and we're looking for people for some episodes. Right now we're off to, like, Site 13 for our episode. But here's a Dropbox link to some evidence that we found. So I clicked the Dropbox link and it led me to a video. So they said it was an EVP, but... it wasn't an EVP. EVPs are just voices. This was a full-bodied apparition.
Oh, my gosh.
And
so
it led to the video. In the video...
let's do our best reenactment. Okay, so it's like, man, did you hear that around here? What was that?
Hey, show yourself. Use our energy to appear to us.
I don't feel so good, man.
And then this gigantic guy shows up behind him. And then they start running away. So, like, this big monster shows up behind him, and then that's the end of it. It just goes static.
We have our wonderful fan out there, Riviera Neo, which stopped the video and enhanced it for us so we could see the actual apparition. That was so creepy. It was like this horned,
eyeless,
crazy,
like lipless
ghost beast thing. Oh, so creepy.
And if you watch Rick's Periscope, his wife actually noticed that it was a Immortals mask, or Immortal something. I forgot the name of the company. But they found out what mask it actually was, and they pointed out what it was, which is kind of cool. They did a little bit more of deep searching. But once I saw the video, actually, I didn't watch the video immediately. I jumped on the Periscope, and I watched it with everybody, and I had like 30 people in there watching with me.
Because the Hot Fanatic had to share it with you guys.
I had to share it with everybody, and then I posted it on YouTube for everyone to see.
Very cool.
Then,
you were on top of that because the other places hadn't even released anything about that yet. So make sure you're following us on Twitter and Facebook because you might be getting cutting-edge breaking news from the Park Fanatics.
Yeah, maybe. So they went into this one. At the show, they had their characters come out and kind of explain what was going on, and I kind of like how they alluded to past mazes at Scary Farm because the guy's like, "Hey, we're gonna be recording at the Haunting of Hayden Hill, and not Scary Farm. We haven't been here. We haven't seen such an infestation of ghosts here since that whole thing at Murder Manor." And I thought that I know that a lot of Scary Farm dorks there completely just were like. Yeah, oh yeah, Murder Manor. 13X Murder Manor, guys. So that was cool.
So that's going to be a really neat maze. That's a maze, right?
It is a maze. It is not. It is I know that the rumor was that it was going to be another reservation-only maze, like Infected.
Yes.
It is not. It's a normal maze.
Normal queue.
Normal queue. Fright Lane works for it as well.
Ooh.
So I found that out this weekend. So their little synopsis of Paranormal Inc. is... In this groundbreaking new maze featuring high-flying aerial stunts and scares, guests investigate a haunted hospital where the patients were tortured for decades by deranged doctors and nurses. Ooh. Demonic spirits of the murdered victims have been detected throughout the mysterious halls, while evil medical staff hunt for their new patients to torture, that being us. Oh, so apparently it's going to have branching storylines and a whole bunch of different little things, so it's like a different experience each time. And this is the same guy who did Infected, so that's John Cook who made this. He really likes the interactive aspect of attractions, and like Rick and Jeff said, the hot words are interactive and immersive. So it's going to be.
He just took a drink right there.
He just took a drink right now. Interactive and immersive experience for Paranormal Inc.
Stop it, guys! Glug 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 glug. Yeah, it's going to be great, man. This is a brand new maze. We haven't seen this yet, and this is going to be something out of this world, literally.
This is one where I don't really have any expectations for it because I haven't experienced anything like it, so I don't know what to expect. I feel like having a no expectation will allow me to be a lot more surprised and a lot more impressed with what's going to happen.
If you can lower
if I went in going, oh my god, it's going to be the best thing ever, and then I go in and then it's not going to be the best thing ever. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, totally. You don't want to amp yourself up too much. I always like to kind of lower my scare standards. Like I don't usually get scared at things, but when I go to these sort of events, I lower it down to like where I can, it's kind of like suspension of disbelief. You really have to put your mind in that aspect or in that mindset to really enjoy that maze, or any maze for that matter.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be an important, you have to do this with this maze, I'm sure.
And I'm excited for it. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't excited. I like how it's going to be very, very different, more different than anything we've seen at Not Scary Farm before. I'm sure there's going to be some aspects to it that were similar to Trapped, in the sense of interactive and dealing with situations. But we'll see how it goes. I'm a yay for this one as well.
Oh yeah, me too. So what's the last one?
The last one was like the
big reveal.
Big reveal where the witch came out on this big,
which we all knew,
wheeled chest thing, and
we all
the monsters that were roaming in the audience pushed it out with her.
Yeah, it was impressive because it was part of the whole show, and we were all waiting to see when the Green Witch was going to come back because she was there last year. She was like the icon of it, right? And that's kind of what they're trying to do.
With the tricksters.
Yeah, with the tricksters. So when they brought her back this year, did you have any idea of what was going to be accompanying the Green Witch?
Well, I have to give a shout out to Hauntman on Instagram because he was the one who figured out that at least the Parks and Cons riddle, because there was a riddle in the clue boxes.
Yes.
He figured out that riddle pointed to a deadly sin, and it was sloth. Ooh. So I give a shout out to him, and then once I knew that, then I went to the other ones to kind of see if they pointed towards any of the other ones. And as I did my work, the other ones did start pointing towards other deadly sins. And I jumped on Rick's Periscope, and I was like, Rick, it's the 7 deadly sins. I know it is. And he's like, no, that doesn't make sense. No.
And TPA is like on top of the haunts. So
yeah.
to have TPA tell us that it's not going to be the 7 deadly sins, and then what did we find out?
It was the 7 deadly sins.
Deadly sins.
But Rick did say, like, on a later Periscope that he's like, everyone told me that it was, and it was. I'm sorry. Like, that's what it was. Mm-hmm. But on the front side of the card, there's the witch in 7 figures, and the 7 figures are 7 embodiments of the 7 deadly sins, and each one has their own name. And so the 7 deadly sins, if you guys don't know what they are, they're pride, sloth, greed, envy, wrath, gluttony, and lust. So those are the 7 deadly sins, and each character has their own name. I really don't know what their names are. They're brand new to me. Mm-hmm. I know Luxuria, Ira, Superbia,
and they were
Arcebia, Averia, I don't know. They're all weird sounding names, man.
But they're the 7 deadly sins.
Looking, though.
Yeah, when they announced this, they launched a bunch of cards out into the audience, and it looked like confetti.
I thought they were confetti. I thought it was confetti.
thought it was confetti too, but it was actually little trading cards with each of the 7 deadly sins on it. And I'm sure a lot of people got a lot, but you got which one?
I got Wrath, so I got Ira.
Ran out of his seat when that
it's funny.
cannon went off and all that.
It seems like I ran, like in my head. I remember getting up. In my head, it seemed like I did it really slow. Like I looked, I got kind of halfway up. I looked again. And then I ran out and I grabbed it, and I actually saw myself inside the Magic's video, and it wasn't even any hesitation. It was, and then I just went in. And then as well as everybody else ran to go get them. Exactly. I'm just glad I got one. If I didn't get any, I would have been so sad.
Yeah, totally.
I would have been so sad.
Yeah, there was a little kid in front of us that he couldn't get out into the aisle in time. He was really, really upset by that. Poor guy. Oh, well, you can look on our Facebook to see ours.
So the Green Witch called them her Deadly 7. Now, these are going to be roam-around characters that replace the tricksters.
Because they can't have the 7 deadly sins. They're just the Deadly 7, right?
I guess so. But, I mean, it's pretty clear. I mean, 7 deadly sins, but
it's not religious. It's just
it's not religious. It's just characters.
Yeah.
So their synopsis on the Deadly 7 is prowling the darkest corners of scary farms, midways, and scare zones. The Green Witch and her Deadly 7 are the sadistic crew guilty of more terror than meets the eye.
So these were the guys replacing the tricksters from last year. Is that correct?
Correct. And the rest of it goes on to say each of the monsters represents one of the 7 deadly sins and makes terrifying surprises. I can't read. It makes terrifying surprise appearances throughout the park each night.
So the tricksters, are they gone?
No, the tricksters aren't gone. They're just confined to trick or treat, which is fine with me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I honestly thought their shtick got a little old after a while. Like, I thought it was fun and really cool the first 2 years, but then after a while, just go, they're the same thing every year.
Well, now you got something real new and
true.
exciting.
I'm really excited. This one I'm really pumped about. I'm really excited to see how they interact with people, what they're going to do. Are they going to have the same stick as the tricksters, where there's actors in the crowd and then they pull them out and they do crap to them? I want to know.
That would be cool.
And I'm excited to see what they look like really close up, because I didn't really get a good look at them at the event. It just, everything happened so quickly.
So quick. We got a good video of it. We'll have to post that up on our Facebook. Make sure you check for that video. We'll get it up there.
Except there's a portion where it completely devolves into me running to go get a card at some point.
I got you on the video running for the
okay,
card.
I didn't even know you were recording it at the same time that I was.
Oh, yeah, we got 2 videos. We'll post that.
So those were the major announcements at the Scary Farm event, and then we headed home excited, chatting about every single thing that's going to happen at Scary Farm.
Ooh, can't wait.
I have my pass, I have my front of the lines, and my pre-scare buffet waiting for me.
Well, aren't you so special?
I'm the Haunt Fanatic, man. I buy them like the second day they go on sale, because in my head I'm like, they're gonna sell out. Oh god, I gotta get tickets.
I know.
They're gonna sell out.
I'm really nervous because I'm still trying to get mine. I haven't gotten mine yet.
Oh, you're gonna get a pass. You're fine.
Totally. I know it's gonna happen, but they said until September 20th that they're gonna be selling the passes. So I have a little bit of time at least.
Oh yeah, just save up a bit of money and we'll be good to go, dude.
Yeah, haunt season gets expensive when you got so many haunts to go to.
It gets very expensive after a while, but if it's like your season, then I mean, who cares?
I know we've been a little haunt heavy, Gabe, but I think we should maybe hit our main topic now. What do you think?
Oh wait, one more thing, completely forgot about it. Shout out to Hendel. Hendel actually gave us some really cool buttons. He gave us the Lettuce Bounce Jeff buttons as well as the Cut Our Meat Jeff buttons
from last year.
And man, Hendel was just such a cool guy. Totally. He was so cool, super nice, super knowledgeable.
Oh yeah,
you could tell he's just a really big fan of knots.
Yeah, he's been doing this for years.
And he has that big Catawampus like vest that I really want.
He's part of the Catawampers.
I want to be a Catawamper.
I do too. It's like, you know how Disney has Disney gangs?
Yeah.
Knott's has Knott's gangs now.
It's the Catawampers. Do we just all roam around in groups going moo?
Moo, yeah. I think that's the initiation to the gang. You have to like go up to random people and say moo in their face.
Moo!
That's about it. It's pretty easy to get into.
That sounds great to me. I'm down.
You're going, no. Oh, really cool.
So our main topic, guys, finally made it to it. I know that we went on a long time about Scary Farm and Soak City and Extended Q Trip, but if we're finally here for our main topic, Geauga Lake.
Geauga.
See, I already screwed it up.
Yeah, it's a complicated name.
It's spelled Geauga.
So it's like okay. Wait. Geauga Lake.
And it's actually a Native American word that I think means raccoon.
Oh,
I think.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a Native American word. So yeah, it's raccoon, I guess. I don't know. But this place goes back to 1887.
That's right. It had 120 years of operation before it had met its sad fate and actually got shut down by Cedar Fair.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people argue whether or not it's an actual theme park at the time it opened, but
Definitely an amusement park.
I would argue that, because in 1887, when they first kind of laid the land there for themselves, it was mostly there for it was actually called Picnic Lake or Giles Pond, and it was mostly there for like a dance hall, picnic grounds, and some other small little entertainment offerings. Nothing really like
Which back in the day, that was
amusement park related.
Back in that time, that was kind of what amusement parks were. It was just basically a place where you could come and hang out, relax, go swimming, spend time in a natural environment, and then spend time with the family, basically. And that's what that was. Like you said, the guy that founded the place, he, what's his name? Sullivan Giles. He actually picked that spot because it was so scenic, and it was actually close to
the train.
To the train, yeah.
So people get off the train and then immediately see this gorgeous place and just want to come over really quickly.
Yeah, and he finally opened it up to the public in 1872, and that's when they figured out, or called it picnic grounds for the first time, where they had camping, swimming, parties, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They actually put in a dance hall, too, at that time.
Yeah.
Which is one of the major things that brought people at the time.
Mm-hmm. When people, because that got really, really popular very, very fast. Mm-hmm. When things got really popular, they started adding in a lot more things for people to do. Mm-hmm. They actually put in a full-size steamboat that circled around the lake. Mm-hmm. And it actually was pulling, I didn't even know this word before, but it was pulling a scrow around. And apparently what a scrow is, it's like a flat-bottom boat that they usually use for, like, freighting.
Yeah.
But they actually put a dance floor on it.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty unique of them. But in 1887, that was when that was officially considered an amusement park, because they brought in the steam-powered carousel, which was the first ride that was actually there. And then they also had Major League Baseball games there.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Like at an amusement park, they have Major League Baseball games. Well, I mean, like imagine the Anaheim Angels playing a baseball game at Disneyland on Tom Sawyer's Island.
Back then, if they had room, for sure, that would be awesome.
slide in a home plate being like the treehouse fort.
There you go.
He's safe.
So, I mean, from 1887 to about 1925, it was basically just the carousel, the steamboat. People came and hung out, enjoyed their time and their day. But then they really transformed when they put in their first roller coaster.
The Big Dipper.
The Big Dipper, that's right.
The Big Dipper was, at that time, the largest wooden roller coaster built. It was 2,800 feet long, and it was 65 feet high. Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest roller coaster at the time.
It's not that big when you think about it now, but remember,
back then,
this is the 1920s.
Uh-huh.
Like, this is the advent of the roller coaster. Like, this is right when everything started. So this was really thrilling to these people. Nobody's really seen things like this before. Mm-hmm. So having a 65-foot drop or just being that high was probably really scary for people.
Oh yeah, definitely. It originally opened as the Skyrocket roller coaster.
Skyrocket?
Skyrocket. Yeah, I went through a few different names. They called it Skyrocket, and then in the 40s they called it Clipper. I don't know who came up with this name. I like Big Dipper. I thought that was a good name.
Big Dipper's a good one.
But yeah, it was a great roller coaster. Ace actually, before everything went downhill, Ace had gone out and declared it a national landmark for coaster enthusiasts. It had a little plaque. You know, if you go to Six Flags, you see the plaque in front of Revolution.
Yeah.
The first modern looping coaster from Ace. They had that on this roller coaster as well for being just a historical wooden coaster. And they really were doing a good job of maintaining it. I mean, it went through so much stuff.
Yeah.
They had a lot of problems at this park going through the years, didn't they?
Yeah, quite a few just maintenance issues with the roller coasters and then everything else that was happening in the park.
Yeah, they had
earthquakes, fires, a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Actually, a tornado.
Sorry.
Yeah. Don't forget, this is out in Ohio. I don't think they get much earthquakes out there.
True, sorry.
We're so used to them out here. Whoa.
Earthquake is the first thing that comes to my mind.
That's our natural disaster.
Natural disasters are earthquakes.
So, back in the... what was it? The 40s, they had the tornado that destroyed a bunch of the buildings. It damaged that roller coaster. They claimed about $50,000 worth of damage, but they built it right back up real quick.
Yeah, and then there a lot of people. It got even more popular, which is funny. Like after they refurbed everything, it got even more popular.
Yeah.
And funny enough, the roller coaster wasn't the big draw. It was the dance hall.
The dance hall.
The dance hall was the major draw, and they would have really, really big acts in there. A lot of he's pre-cursing what I'm about to say. They were you're making me laugh. Stop! I can't record the podcast when I'm laughing. He was doing that because they had really big band performers. People like Guy Lombardo, Fred Waring, Artie Shaw. Like these are really big band names at the time. Like you don't ever see that at an amusement park.
Yeah, that was definitely a big part of it. They also put the bowling alley in, racetrack in, which all of these were really popular attractions at other sort of picnic parks and amusement parks in the nation at the time. Because back then they didn't really have crazy high thrill rides and intense drop stuff. It was all, let's get together and have a good time, have a dance and a swim and a little bit of a picnic.
You guys can't see Garrett, but he's doing that pointy finger dance.
I'm doing the 1940s finger swag. Finger
wag dance. And then after that, after like the park got that popular, they actually were bought out by Funtime Incorporated.
Yeah, but before that happened, they actually had a pretty major fire that went and
I forgot about the fire. It was this park seemed to have a lot of really bad luck.
I know, it really did, and that's why it's so surprising that it went on for 120 years, because they overcame all these odds, and then it just met its demise over a corporate,
stupid,
terrible discussion or whatever. So the fire took out the bowling alley, the theater, and it damaged some stuff, but they didn't really do much. They just raised the few things that were damaged. They really just kept it open as a seasonal amusement park, and they had swimming and the roller coaster obviously. But right after that, in the 60s, late 60s, right? They sold it to Funtime. Family.
Funtime Incorporated bought the park and actually really focused more on building rides and making it more ride oriented than it was like lake oriented or dance hall oriented or things like that.
That's when it switched, was in the 60s, 69 I think.
Yeah, and then around 1970, right across the lake, SeaWorld Ohio opened up, and this was like the precursor to SeaWorld Orlando. The Orlando location did not open up yet. No. That wasn't there. So SeaWorld Orlando...
This was the second SeaWorld, actually.
Yeah, because we had the SeaWorld in San Diego.
We were the first here in California.
So SeaWorld Ohio actually opened up, and the funny enough is that for 30 years, both of those, Geauga Lake and SeaWorld were friends.
Totally.
They worked together.
You know that actually Funtime
got land. They got land from Geauga Lake to build SeaWorld.
Yeah.
So they paid Geauga money to get the land to do SeaWorld.
Yeah, they actually convinced them to do it because they were looking at another location for that SeaWorld, but Geauga Lake actually wanted them to be across from them just so that they could work together. And they were great neighbors together. Mm-hmm. One was the educational park, one was the thrill park, and they worked like that in unison for so long.
And Geauga Lake started adding so many theme parks to it, added so many thrill rides to its roster.
That was right when they started, right?
That was right when they started, and eventually it kind of caught the eye of Six Flags, right?
Yeah, that was a lot later.
That was a lot later?
That was in '96. It was bought out by
Six Flags.
Premier Parks.
Premier Parks, yes. Premier Parks bought it out and made it Six Flags Ohio.
Yeah, and before that they added a lot of good stuff, though. They had the Gold Rush log flume. They put in a Wildcat compact steel coaster, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Back in '76, they actually put the first looping coaster in 1977, which was the first in the Midwest or Mideastern.
What was it called?
It was called the Double Loop. The Double Loop. And it
Did it have two? Okay, I was going to say if it only had one loop, that is a lie.
That is a lame name.
The cake is a lie.
And then the year after that, they put in another looping coaster, making them the absolute first park to ever have two looping coasters in it.
Wow.
Corkscrew. It was your classic Aero Corkscrew.
This is a park that really set standards.
Yeah.
It really did. And it was really important to all the other parks that kind of built themselves afterwards. Totally. You know what? Honestly, when I read all this information about Geauga Park, it really reminded me a lot about Disneyland. A lot of aspects to it reminded me of Disneyland. Not necessarily the roller coaster portions, but just kind of the grassroots efforts and
Totally.
and like the steamboat and the rivers and all this stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if Walt at that time knew of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure. They were across the country from each other, so there was plenty of room, and I'm sure they drew a little bit of inspiration from each other. 'Cause
Yeah.
this park has so much history. I'm sure everyone at that point knew about it. Right in the 80s, though, they started putting in some water park stuff. Some slides. They put in a wave pool. That was the only one in the Midwest to have a wave pool. They put in paddle boats, a swimming area, a little children's pool. They really took off with the water parks portion in the 80s. And then in 86, they added even more kiddie rides and roller coaster in 88 called Raging Wolf Bob's, which was that was actually a really intense looking coaster.
What was it?
It was a wooden coaster. It had an 80-foot drop, but it went 50 miles an hour, which,
At the time is fast.
At 88, that's pretty good. Even today, that's pretty good. That was based on another roller coaster called the Bob's. Funny enough, they kind of ripped the name off, I'm sure, and the design from Riverview Park in Chicago. So that park kind of, and that's gone too now. I mean, all those parks up there seem to have had some trouble.
So then at that point is when Premier Parks bought the land out, or bought the park, and then turned it into Six Flags Ohio at that point.
Well, it was actually in 95 that Premier Parks bought it out. And then in 1998, that's when Premier Parks purchased Six Flags.
Oh, so the company bought Six Flags.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that company just turned into Six Flags.
No, actually, Time Warner owned Six Flags before
Time
that.
Warner's been around that long?
Oh, yeah, they've been
That place sucks.
Yeah, well, now.
I hate Time Warner. I have their internet. It's not very good.
Just as bad as Comcast. But yeah, in 95, that was a big year for them because that's when Premier Parks.
See where we're going with this? There's just so much crap going on all the time with this history.
But in 1996, they actually started dumping a lot of money into this park. This is when it really started taking off. So they dumped $9 million into this park. They put in four new rides right then. Mind Eraser, a boomerang type ride. Grizzly Run, which is a water rapids ride. 1996, they opened those parks up, and then they sold off Corkscrew. And you know where they sold that Corkscrew coaster to?
Where?
I thought this was so funny. It was in India, and it's called Dizzyland. Not Disney.
Disneyland.
Dizzee. No, we're not the same. Totally. So that's actually still out there from what I understand. And then they also put in Serial Thriller. You were showing me that one. It was that SLC.
Yeah, that thing looked real rough.
Yeah, it looks pretty rough.
It looked rough, but it also reminded me of like Batman in the sense that Batman at Six Flags Magic Mountain doesn't really have a lot of breaks. It's just always going.
Constant.
Very tight turns, going in and out of itself. It looked awesome, but it did look like it needed some help.
Yeah, totally.
Like it was rough.
Yeah, Vekoma, I mean, you know the boomerang at Knott's, right?
Yeah.
You know how rough that thing could be.
That's very rough.
I mean, kind of translate that over to this. Same manufacturer, but just an inverted roller coaster. So your feet are dangling below. Crazy good ride. I mean, there's some people that really like SLCs, which stands for Suspended Looping Coaster.
Yeah.
And it was one of their most popular attractions, Vekoma, and they put them all over the nation. After all that, though, in 2000, that's when things kind of started to change after the Premier Parks time. Is that right?
I have no clue.
No. Well, that was when it switched over to Six Flags Ohio.
Oh, okay, that's when. There's just so much. See, Garrett and I have notes, and my notes are like the major points of things that happen. Garrett has all the fine details of what happened in between. So that's why every time I'm like, oh, and this happened, he's like, no. There's like these 50 things that happened in between. I'm like, okay, then this happened finally. Then he's like, no, then there was these 10, 15 other smaller things that happened in between that.
I mean, if we were to go through everything, this would be an 8-hour episode, totally.
Yeah, we're trying to really just hit the points. And finally, at the point that I had, it turned into Six Flags Ohio. Gotcha.
And again, that's when they dumped a lot of money into this park, which I personally think was the downfall of this
dumping
park.
that much money into it.
Yeah, they just grew too quick.
They grew really, really quickly.
Really quick.
And I think, honestly, one of the bigger mistakes that I think they made was eventually they purchased SeaWorld Ohio.
Yeah,
right across the way. And then that made them the largest theme park at that time in the world.
Yes,
like
700 acres.
700 acres. Just to give you an idea of how big that is, Animal Kingdom is 500 acres big.
Whoa.
Animal Kingdom over in Florida in Disney is 500 acres. Disneyland here is 150 acres.
Wow, really?
Epcot is 300. And Six Flags Magic Mountain, so our Six Flags, is only like 272.
Which, that's a huge park, too.
It feels really big. It feels maybe because you're walking up a gigantic hill all the time, but it feels really big. And I know that everybody talks about Animal Kingdom feeling like such a huge park, and I can't imagine a 700-acre park encompassing a whole coast of a lake.
A lake, yeah. A rather large lake, too. So they dumped $40 million into that, bought SeaWorld. They dumped 20 new rides into it just before this. Just before they switched over to the name Six Flags
Worlds of Adventure.
Worlds of Adventure, because they not only had the thrill side, they had the wild side where they kept all the animals. Because they kind of kept with the theme of SeaWorld. After they bought out SeaWorld, they kept the animals, they kept it in the educational aspect.
Yeah, and that section of the park was called the Wildlife Park, correct?
Yes, totally. And then the other side, do you know what that was called?
No.
The Wild Ride side. Yeah, right. A little play on words there. And they advertised it because they also had the water park at this time. So they advertised 3 parks for the price of 1. Sounds pretty good, right?
Sounds great.
They hit record numbers that year. The craziest crowds they've ever seen. And I think that was 2003. And that was the year they also expanded that water park on top of that. So they're dumping a bunch of coasters in, dumping a bunch of money in, putting more water park stuff in, all in a 3-year span.
That's so fast. That's like if Disney built Cars Land, a whole nother theme park, and then like the whole Star Wars Land within a year.
Out in the middle of basically nowhere.
It's the same. It's the same thing. Like imagine having all that stuff built at one time. Like it's overwhelming.
Yeah, and the people that went there, the few that I've talked to, have said that it was just too much. Like it was overwhelming. You couldn't do it all in a day. No way. You had to spend like 3 or 4 days there to see everything, and it was just so much walking. You could barely get one half of it done in one day. And you could take a boat across the river to the other side, or lake. Or you could take this little floating bridge across and test your luck that way, I guess. Floating bridge sounds sketchy.
Let me pose this to you. Because you said that people said that it was overwhelming and that they would have to, spend more than one day there. What's the difference between this park and having to spend more than one day there and say a whole resort like Disney World or Universal where you had to spend multiple days at those parks as well?
I think they all offer their own unique experience down there.
As opposed to just one park.
Yeah, totally. And when it was separate, people would go to SeaWorld, or they'd go to just the water park, or just Geauga Lake. Once they actually combined the parks, though, that was when it just became overwhelming. It was just too much to conquer.
And Six Flags just fell into debt. They just fell into so much debt because they built everything so quickly, and I'm sure attendance dropped, and that just left them with a big, gaping hole of money. Like they just lost in this place. They left them in the red. Yeah,
and 2003 was the last year that they actually owned it. And after putting all that money and effort into it, and they're bankrupt, they looked to Cedar Fair to
which
sell.
Cedar Fair owned Cedar Point at the time.
Which is only 90 miles up the road.
No, it's not far at all. Everybody knows what Cedar Point is. So totally. I'm sure Cedar Fair looked at this place with all these roller coasters and thought, this is a perfect opportunity for us to turn this place around and really make it a part of our company.
Yeah.
And really capitalize off of this. So Cedar Fair bought the park off of them for $145 million.
Which is a steal if you really think about it.
Yeah, how big the park was with how many rides were actually there, that is a steal. $145 million, I guess, isn't that much. Like, even now, it's not a lot. Because think about it. Disney's California Adventure, their remodel was almost $2 billion.
Really? Wow.
Or like $1 billion, something like that. Yeah. That was just a remodel. So buying an entire theme park for $145 million?
The largest in the nation.
The largest theme park in the nation? That's unheard of.
And that was only 11 years ago, man. This is really recent.
And that's when they actually reverted back to the original name, Geauga Lake.
Yeah.
So they got rid of all the Six Flags stuff. They completely unbranded it. They renamed a whole bunch of rides.
Because if you know Six Flags, they have all the DC comic characters.
And they have the WB characters, right?
The
Like
WB.
Bugs Bunny and all them stuff. So a lot of the rides reverted back to other names.
Which everyone that was there said it was so weird. Because all these rides and all these memories that they had from there, they would go back through. And it's all still there, but it's totally different. None of the characters. Could you imagine going to Disneyland and instead of seeing Mickey Mouse, it was like Johnny the Rabbit or something in its place?
Yeah, it'd be a little weird.
It would be weird.
Creepy in a sense.
Yeah.
So some of the name changes for these rides were, originally there was Batman Night Flight, which actually got turned into Dominator, which we actually talked about in a prior episode.
Yeah. Great ride.
Mind Eraser turned into Headspin. I don't know why Mind Eraser had to be changed. It doesn't sound like a themed ride. Maybe it has something to do with a DC character.
Probably.
I don't know. That turned into Headspin.
That was their boomerang ride.
Yes, and then there was Serial Thriller. Get it? Serial killer, serial thriller.
Thriller.
It's always thrilling you.
Thrill the roller coaster fans. That was my Michael Jackson impersonation.
I just shivered. I shivered a bit from that.
That bad?
That
Oh,
was
man.
really bad.
No, that's okay.
I think you owe the audience an apology.
I'm sorry.
Okay, don't apologize. Never mind.
I'm so
Moving
sorry.
on. So, Serial Thriller became Thunderhawk. Now, Serial Thriller was the one that we were talking about a little earlier, correct? That was the one...
Yeah, the SLC.
The SLC,
Vekoma
correct,
SLC, yeah. The suspended looping coaster.
And then there was Superman Ultimate Escape, which turned into Steel Venom, which was a launching coaster. I'm not quite sure what style of coaster is that. Where it's suspended and it's almost like a boomerang type where it goes back up and it's... What is that called?
It's called an impulse coaster.
Impulse coaster, okay.
Yeah. Which it's essentially just a shuttle coaster. They have one at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, but they call it the V2 version because they have the height restriction over there, so they had to make it at a 45-degree angle. This one went straight up, 90 degrees to the sky.
Yeah.
And the front spike was twisted like a spire, like spiral spire. And the back one was a straight vertical track that went straight up, and they had a holding brick at the top. So when
you got that good boost backwards, it would hold you at the top.
for like a second.
We watched it on the video, and it looked a little painful.
Yeah, it looked like it went clunk, and then dropped.
Then you would drop again, like you would fall on your chest. And then the other one that got a name change there, it was Roadrunner Express, which turned into Beaverland Mine Ride.
Man, that was
That's
a lame.
the worst name change ever in ride history.
Oh, gosh.
It
And that was
has
just
to
the
be.
junior coaster, but that's so lame.
Beaverland Mine Ride.
Beaver coaster.
Who wants to go on the Beaver? I don't.
I don't know for sure.
Beaver Ride.
So after all that, they reverted everything. They kept it open for a few years.
And they closed SeaWorld side.
That's right.
They closed the SeaWorld side completely. So now it was just Geauga Lake and no water rides, no nothing on that side. They completely closed it.
They kept the water park portion.
They kept the water park, but the SeaWorld part.
The marine life park.
Yeah, they closed that completely.
Totally.
Completely gone.
After all that, they realized this isn't going to work out. Some people think from the beginning, from the get-go of Cedar Fair buying this out, that their intentions were just to rip everything out.
I don't know. I mean, the way things kind of happen, it doesn't really seem that way. I mean, they would be wasting a lot of money changing these things to misdirect people into the idea that they're not wanting to strip things out.
But here's the thing. All these roller coasters that we've been mentioning, most of them have been relocated to other Cedar Fair parks.
Yeah.
Like, let's see. We had X-Flight, which is now at Kings Island, just down the road. It's the Flying Dutchman Vekoma coaster. They really had a lot of Vekomas. Flying Dutchman, which means it's kind of like Tatsu, but they lay you back on your back first.
That's weird.
Yeah, and it's a flying coaster. You go up the lift hill on your back, and then it flips you over so you're flying.
Okay.
And that got moved over to Kings Island. They moved a Wild Mouse ride over to Chippewa Lake. Villain, that was demolished, actually. Thunderhawk moved to Michigan Adventure. These are all Cedar Fair parks. And they're all relatively close. That's the thing that people were a little annoyed about when they first bought it, because Cedar Fair was up the road, they had Kings Island just about 120 miles away, Kennywood was just down the road, all these other theme parks, and this one right in the middle, it used to be competition, and now it's theirs, so it's like, why would you buy that if it's right there? You already have a bunch of theme parks right there.
It's a little suspicious. I mean, I'm not going to lie that it's suspicious. I mean, it doesn't really make too much sense. I mean, I guess so. I guess it does really seem like they just bought it to completely strip it.
Yeah, they bought a whole slew of coasters.
From a business standpoint, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because you're getting all these coasters, which $145 million, like these roller coasters are worth way more than that. So they're getting a steal for all these coasters that they can completely spread across their parks for free, essentially.
Yeah,
which is nuts.
Also, they recouped a lot of this too when they the ones that they couldn't salvage and put in another park, they just scrapped them for the scrap metal, which is sad. Like that double loop one, which was the first looping coaster in that part of the country, scrapped. $25,000 right there they got for that. They sold off some of them. Some of them were just not in a condition to actually save. There was a Raging Wolf's Bob's, which was that roller coaster I was telling you about. Earlier. They just demolished that. They sold it off for $2,500. Dude.
$2,500?
Yeah. The price of a used Toyota Corolla from 1997.
Jeez.
That you could have bought a roller coaster for that price. All they did was they took some of the wood and some of the trains and they gave them to the Geauga Lake Historical Society in that area. I think it's called the Aurora Historical
Borealis.
Society. Yeah, it's in Aurora, Ohio. Ohio.
I only said Aurora, Illinois because of Wayne's World.
Oh, Wayne's World. See, you were quoting Wayne's World. I was quoting the Drew Carey Show.
No, yeah, I was quoting Wayne's World because they're from Aurora. Wait, are they from Illinois? Right? Aurora, Illinois is where they're from in the movie.
Oh, I'm the wrong person to ask. I don't know.
Let me just go hop in my Murph-mobile and then drive down there and go ask him. Go ask Mike Myers some questions.
Yeah, there you go. All I know about that movie is that they filmed part of that on Hurler, that horrible, horrible roller coaster Hurler.
I'm gonna hurl. So they scrapped a lot of these rides. They moved a lot of these rides.
They just basically got all their money that they could out of it.
Yeah, they just got so much money out of all this crap, and then the SeaWorld portion that they closed, they actually ended up reopening it, but there was no sea life in it at all. It was all water rides, water park rides,
because they expanded that.
They expanded it, and then they renamed it Wild Water Kingdom. Mm-hmm. So now that was open along with Geauga Lake, but then even with the expansion of the water park before, still quite a large footprint.
Totally, yeah, so they had both. And they actually renamed it at that point, slightly different name, Geauga Lake and Wild Water Kingdom.
Yes.
Which is all the same park, so you still got that, that price break. They ripped out the last of the Hurricane Harbor water park, which they renamed to Hurricane Hannah.
That's another really terrible name change.
Yeah, they just hastily did all this, I'm sure. This is why I don't think they really cared about that part.
Probably not.
It's so sad. Anyways, after all that, in 2007, after the final year,
their business just plummeted. But I mean, their last thing they had was in 2007, like you said, Oktoberfest, which was September 14th and 16th. That was actually the final weekend the park was opened all. Geauga Lake portion of it.
Yeah.
After that, completely closed, shut down forever.
Yeah, they announced in 2008 that they would solely operate as Wild Water Kingdom from there on out. And that was just so sad. A lot of people showed up in 2008 to do the auction walkthrough of Geauga Lake when they were doing they were auctioning off all the rides and anything they could. A lot of people showed up to that just to kind of say goodbye to the park. Yeah. They drew a huge crowd just doing that.
They sold a lot of the rides. The land they hadn't sold yet. Nobody bought the land. And then they stopped selling it, and then they let it sit there for a while, and then they tried to sell it again. I think it's actually happening right now.
It's still up for
happening.
Sale.
It's up for sale, but they're selling it off in parcels, so it's not just like, oh, you need to buy this 400 acre piece of land. You're just buying little portions of it to a whole bunch of people.
And they're trying to sell it off as mixed use land, so now it's going to be like office parks and homes and shopping and malls. That's so lame.
And if you guys really, really wanted to, before any of that happens, that park is still sitting there today.
Yep.
It's rotting away. Plants have taken over roller coasters, taken over buildings. It's weird. It looks like I Am Legend. Yeah. That's what it looks like. It looks like the movie I Am Legend.
Totally.
It looks like that, just being completely taken over, like if no humans were there at all.
If you like abandoned places and creepy things that have been taken back by nature. You should go look at some pictures online of what this place looks like now, because it is eerie. It is so
It's
eerie.
super creepy, especially to think that so many people have had so many good memories
I know.
of these places and have family pictures there, and then juxtapose that to what it is now, and it's just the everything lacking of that. It's just really, really, really sad.
You know, they still have their Big Dipper roller coaster there.
It's just running away. It's just
Yep.
sitting there.
Standing but not operating. And that's so sad, because they really tried to save that roller coaster. Did you know that?
Because it's a historic roller coaster.
Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't want to save that thing?
That's actually funny what they tried to do with the Big Dipper. In 2009, it went up for auction again, and it went up for $150,000. No one bought it. 2010, it ended up on eBay.
The roller coaster,
The roller
was,
coaster
on eBay.
was on eBay.
For how much?
Starting bid, $9,500.
$9,500 for a historical
Yeah.
wooden roller coaster.
But you got to move it.
yeah.
That's the catch.
You didn't buy the land. You just bought the materials.
Yeah, so get it out of here for
Yeah.
us. And then it had a buy it now option for $65,000. And two coaster enthusiasts tried to save it in 2010. They really put some effort into it. They were going to store it nearby, but they couldn't get the funding for it. And so in 2011, they decided they're not going to try to do that.
Did they try to do like a crowdfunding type thing?
Well, they tried to fund it some way, and they just couldn't get the funding for it. And they couldn't figure out a way to store it and everything. So it basically just sat there. It was even repaired in 2008 because they were trying to still sell it at the time. And so they
then
went
it became operatable. Is that even a word?
operable.
Operable? Is that the word? Okay. Was it even operable?
At the time, after 2008 and the repair that they made, it probably could have run, but it never did it again. Ever.
Oh.
So it's still just sitting there, this historic ride, and it's eerily taken over, like you said, by shrubs and trees growing up through the track and stuff. It's really, really sad.
Well, I know that we posted maybe 1 or 2 or 3 pictures just kind of promoting this episode, but we'll go onto our Facebook page and our Twitter and our Instagram and post some more pictures of Geauga Lake and the state that it was and then the state that it is now in. Just to give you kind of the difference of what actually happens to a place
Totally.
when it's completely abandoned and not taken care of. And as a theme park goer and as a roller coaster fan, and I know you feel the same, just seeing pictures like that makes me really sad to know that
totally.
something that has such historical significance is treated that way.
It's true. And, you know, it's sad, but at the same time, it's eerily beautiful at what's happened to it now.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. It's almost like a piece of art in a way.
If you guys have a chance, you should check out architecturalafterlife.com. You can see a bunch of really beautiful photos of the current state of Geauga Lake. It's actually a bunch of photography, by Johnny Jew, and he went crazy there. It was a great photo session. You should check it out. Architectural Afterlife.
Yeah, I think I may have actually seen that because I know that there's a whole bunch of other theme parks or just amusement parks in general that have had the same thing happen. Not the same history, but like another Six Flags park. There was one in New Orleans.
Totally.
There's like a Joker roller coaster that's just still sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
Whole bunch of stuff. It is the most eeriest thing to see. Oh my God. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's sad when this sort of stuff happens. And in Japan and China, there's a ton of them too.
There's a ton?
Yeah, there's a ton, man. All over the world. There's one in Germany where there's a Ferris wheel that still turns, and it's not been oiled or anything, so it makes this horrible whine. Yeah, and the wind is just turning.
People are probably just thinking it's like haunted as crap.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of videos of it online. Just go type in "moving Ferris wheel Germany" on Google. You'll find it totally.
Moving Ferris wheel in Germany.
Dude, I saw a video of a guy actually get on that thing and ride it all the way around.
Why would you ever do that?
Oh, my hands got so sweaty watching that and everything. It was crazy. Oh my gosh. But that's where it stands. It's still operating today as Wildwater Kingdom. You can actually still go to this place as a water park.
And then walk next door and see like the terrible...
You can peer across the lake too and see all the ruins behind it. It's pretty crazy to see that.
So you can't like go over there?
No, it's all blocked off, all chained off and everything. But you can definitely see right across the lake and see this big vacant area that once was Geauga Lake. And there's just It's so sad. I mean, how many times can I say that? It's just so sad.
Dude, I'm going to go to the water park, swim across the lake, then get out and go just wander that portion with like an EMF detector and a voice recorder to see if I can get some ghosts or something. Seriously, I want the mystery machine to come with me. Like,
it does kind of look
the characters from it
does look like something out of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah,
old man
Jenkins.
Yeah.
Oh, it's old man Jenkins.
He's trying to scare all the people away so he can steal all the roller coasters.
It's literally the abandoned amusement park that old man Jenkins came from.
Yeah.
It's old man Jenkins from the abandoned amusement park.
And there was
I would have got away with it too if it weren't for old Medley caging a stupid dog.
Oh.
Literally, it
literally,
looks like that.
It
It's
could totally
ridiculous.
be an episode of Scooby-Doo for sure.
Yeah, let's do a live action Scooby-Doo episode just over there.
Did you see those live action Scooby-Doo movies? Horrible.
I actually really enjoyed the first one.
You did? Oh, I hate it.
I really enjoyed the first one. It had Rowan Atkinson in it, and he was. I like Rowan Atkinson. He plays Mr. Bean, but he also played. He also played another character in a movie called Rat Race.
Yeah.
Like, it's a race. He just
It's a race,
super
it's a race.
interested in it, but he didn't really get anything.
He had narcolepsy, right?
Yeah, he had narcolepsy, so he would run and just stop in his tracks and just pass out. Just, yeah. I liked Rowan.
Sir.
He would wake up and it's a race. It's a race. I think I'm winning. No, I like Rowan Atkinson, so I liked that movie with him in it, even though spoiler alert, if you don't want to know the end of the first live-action Scooby-Doo movie, he ended up being like a robot, and the real one was in a hole.
If you haven't seen it by now.
Scrappy-Doo was evil, and then Scrappy-Doo cussed some people out.
Yeah, it's too late. They should have seen it by now.
You should have seen that by now. And not that you really care about a spoiler alert about
from
live-action Scooby-Doo
from
movie.
like 2001 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So we digress, but that's pretty much where we leave you. Geauga Lake, the amazing amusement park that once was and is now just a beautifully decaying set of ruins of this once amazing theme park.
Yeah, and I encourage, like, honestly, because there was so much information, there's no way in hell that Garrett and I can cover that much information in a span of a podcast. We don't want to make multiple episodes on this thing. We don't want to make like a 4-hour episode on this thing.
So there's your history lesson. Go check it out.
That's your history lesson. But I honestly, if you want to know more about it, research this place, because there's so much that we didn't cover. It's ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous how much there is.
Yeah, you can always find what we post about it on Facebook, on Twitter. You can find us on almost every social media platform. So make sure you're following us, because we're going to have some more episodes similar to this where we touch on other historic parks in the future. So make sure you guys are following us. Check back in the future, because we're going to have some good stuff for you.
Also, email us with your ideas for episodes, because, like I said, this was Steve Mosley's idea.
Steve.
He really wanted to hear an episode about his home park. And he was sad about it closing, too.
He said this was in his neighborhood, or he lived right nearby.
Yeah, he lived right nearby, so this was for him. If you guys have an idea, email us at parkfanatic@gmail.com, and we'll read all of that. Even if you guys just want to say hi, if you have any suggestions, if you want to say, hey, we think you're really annoying, send us that too. We think your knee slappers are stupid. Send us an email. We'd love to hear from you guys, regardless of what you have to say. We love chatting with everybody, and hopefully you got that from us when we were at the Not Scary Farm thing too, because everybody that came up to us, we would love to talk to them and just chat it up about theme parks. We're two normal guys who just really love theme parks, roller coasters, and anything in between.
Yeah. Can't you tell from this horribly nerdy podcast that we're running here? We are fanatics over here. Park Fanatics.
Excuse me, the drop on Ghost Rider is not that big. It's actually only 135 feet tall. And when you actually calculate it to the drops, the twists, the colossus, it's not really actually that big. And when you did that in the history of roller coasters, then that was my dork voice.
That's basically how I sound when I'm trying to explain these episodes to Gabe. I swear to God.
That's actually how Garrett sounds when he's not on the podcast.
Minus the list.
This is Garrett's show voice.
This is my character voice.
This is his character voice. It's not really
now,
that.
Coming from our studio, the Coaster and the Haunt Fanatic tell you all about things that you don't
hopefully care
about. So thanks for listening, guys. Make sure you leave us an iTunes review. We really need those iTunes review, and we actually got quite a few.
We did.
We really racked them up.
Yeah, some people actually really enjoy our show.
It's crazy, isn't
Crazy
it?
that people actually enjoy listening to these two people talk about dorky things.
So I'm just going to go down through the list because, as you know, if you want to be mentioned on our show, the easiest way for that to happen, leave us an iTunes review. We need them. We really appreciate when you guys tell us what you think. So go on iTunes, leave us that. We got about, 4 or 5 new ones now. We got Looking Up 323, The Terrible, Theme Parks and Travel.
That's the terrible E.
The Terrible E.
Because it's capitalized.
Capital E, that's right. Of course, Theme Parks and Travel's our buddy.
Yeah, those guys rock.
We talk to them all the time on Twitter. We love those guys. Also, JID949. That's my area code. 949. That's my area code too. Was our former area code.
True.
We're up here in LA now. We're in the 562? What are you?
I have no idea what it is. I still have my area code.
I'm in Long Beach now. He's
I
out
just
in
revealed where I used to live.
Oh no!
Oh
no! And then of course Ruby Mine. So thank you guys.
Ruby Mines made me laugh. Ruby Mines.
You read Ruby Mines. I'll read my favorite as well.
Okay, we're just gonna ignore this one. We'll just ignore this because we've been stopping for the sirens in the background.
This is LA for you.
This is LA. This is like LA's song. This is the song that LA sings. It's sirens in the background.
We're just gonna
let that one go.
The reason that these podcasts take forever to make is because we have to cut out about 15 siren noises out of each episode.
And honestly, the fire station isn't that far away from me.
Yeah.
So
maybe we should record at my house
in Long Beach.
It's a little quieter over there.
Maybe. But anyway, as I was saying, Ruby Mine was actually the one that made me laugh because
read it out loud, man.
The title of his review is "So Much Knowledge."
So much knowledge.
And then the description says, "You could tell these two really have a passion for theme parks."
Really?
And the way I'm sure it was meant in a, you sure can tell these guys really have a passion. But the way I read it was like, you sure can tell that these guys have a passion.
Oh, they're blab on forever about those theme parks.
The only reason why I assume it's the first one and not the latter is because it's a 5-star review. So thank you, Ruby Mine, for 5 stars. We have had all 5-star reviews from people, so thank you, everyone.
See, now someone's going to go leave us a 4-star.
Hey, 4 stars is still good.
Hey, I don't care.
I'm still waiting for the 1-star that says, shut up.
Shut up,
that's all it says is just shut up.
Please don't do that. I'm sure someone's now going to do it.
So if you guys could go to iTunes and leave us a review, that'd be great. Especially the ones where it's written out.
Wait, I got to read my favorite one still.
What's your favorite one? Sorry, I skipped it.
You know, I think my favorite would be the one from Theme Parks and Travels. Such a nice guy. He said, "This podcast may be new, but it's already one of the best theme park podcasts out there. It has great coverage of not only the rides, but haunts of the park too." Hey, that's you, Gabe. Woo!
I just threw my hands up in excitement.
Thanks, Theme Parks and Travels. He cannot wait for the next episode, is what he said as well.
Well, you know what? Here it comes. The next episode is coming right at you.
They actually left Extended Q a really nice.
Yes, they did. I heard them on the show. They left them a very nice review, and I can't agree more. I like their episodes a lot. Yeah. I'm a fan of Extended Q. Definitely. It's funny as a theme park podcast, you wouldn't think that other theme park podcasts would like each other and be like,
we love each other.
They rock, I like them. But that's how it is. Like, everybody's just fans of each other.
Yeah, we're all friendly over here.
Everyone's friendly. Everyone's just big dorks. Everyone's big dorks like us too. Hey, another siren for beautiful Los Angeles.
Yeah, we're in the end of the show, so it doesn't matter. Just let it rock.
If LA was a siren, like a siren singing in the middle of the ocean, that would be the sound that they sing for all the pirates to come in and get
we'd
killed.
Be swimming the opposite direction. Get us away from these.
Get us away from the sirens.
So we got to kind of wrap this up, Gabe. We got some thank yous to say.
Yeah, I mean, go for it. Start reading them off.
So you know who I'm going to thank first, right?
Riviera Neo.
And of course, Dr. Bacon.
Still probably one of my favorite names on Twitter.
The Cheesy Turtle.
At the Cheesy Turtle on Twitter. So go check out both of those guys, at the Cheesy Turtle and at Riviera Neo.
It's funny because you can totally decide what kind of fanatic they are. Neo is totally a haunt fanatic.
Guy. He's totally a
haunt guy. And then Dr. Bacon's totally a coaster guy.
So you and Dr. Bacon will be like 2 peas in a pod, and me and Neo will be 2 peas in a pod.
Yeah. He's corrected me a few times, Dr. Bacon.
He's called you out. He's not afraid of calling you out.
No, I love that he does because I'm totally not right all the time. And if I'm not, you guys should tell me that I'm wrong because we'll come back on the show. Speaking of which, we were a little bit wrong on our last episode.
What did we say?
We said Star Wars Land was something that it's not going to be.
What did we say?
We said that it was going to be in Disneyland and Disneyland California Adventure.
Excuse me, you said that? I didn't say anything.
You agreed with me.
No, I didn't agree with you. I just went with what you said.
You didn't know either. I'm not taking full responsibility for this.
Hey, neither of us were there to absorb information, but thank you, Jeff DePauli, for correcting us.
Yes.
Because it's going to be in Florida and in Disneyland.
Hollywood Studios, totally.
Yeah, but we will hold off on that topic because on the next episode of the Park Fanatic Podcast, we're going to have a guest. The first time we're going to have a guest on our show. Somebody on our show that wants to be here to talk with us.
I know.
And it's going to be no one other than Jeff DePauli of Disney Coast to Coast.
Jeff DePauli.
To talk about Star Wars Land.
He's going to set the record straight for us.
This guy is
going to teach us a lesson.
The Disney fanatic. Like, he is the number one source for this information. So make sure you check him out. He's always on Periscope every day for the Daily Disney Decision.
Yep.
He's there all the time.
I love the last one.
I love the alliteration there. Daily Disney Decision.
Yeah, D.
I'm a fan of alliterations. So
totally.
make sure you check him out on Periscope, and he's also on Twitter.
And
So
follow their podcast, Disney Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
You can find them on YouTube because they're a video podcast. Jeff and Patrick both throw together a wonderful Disney podcast about both parks all across the nation. They cover everything Disney. And so it's going to be great to have him to come on the show, tell us all about the newest addition to Disney.
So make sure you guys tune in and look for the next episode of the Park Fanatics, which will be actually episode 8, which will be all about Star Wars Land. So if you're a big Disney nerd, we're the podcast to listen to on the next one.
Yeah. Last little bit of thank yous. Pixels at the Park, thanks for all your Mako coverage. It's been awesome. Theme Parks and Travels, thanks for being awesome. Theme Park Adventure, of course. And
Rick is just always so cool. I love watching
retweets us all the time.
He retweets us.
So nice.
I watch his Periscopes all the time,
So
and he makes sure
funny.
he shouts out Park Fanatic all the time. He's such a cool guy.
We got to thank Jeff Tucker for being amazing.
Jeff Tucker's. I feel like there's those people we always thank, and Jeff Tucker and Rick are always on there.
Totally.
Jeff Tucker's always cool, and he rocks as well.
Hey, Hendel gave us some excellent buttons at the last
Oh,
meetup.
Hendel rocks. We got our Let Us Bounce Jeff and our Cut Our Meat Jeff. And I remember at the event, if you guys were at the event and you heard like a group of nerds start yelling, let us bounce. Let us
That
bounce.
was us. And thanks to Hendel for starting
big
that.
group of people. So yeah, Hendel, thanks for hashtagging Let Us Bounce.
And for showing us your awesome Catawampers vest. I love that thing.
I want to be a catawamper.
And that basically sums us up. Extended Q, of course, we love you guys. Check out Extended Q. Episode 9 was their Knott's review, their Knott's trip report, where I was with them. So make sure you check out episode 9. It's hilarious.
See, another one, guys. This is the third one that we're not cutting out. Like, it's almost like a party now. It's like like a techno party of sirens.
We cut them out throughout the rest of the show, but
I don't know. It just gets overbearing to the point where you say, just let the siren go.
Hey.
It's fine.
So tell me, Gabe, where can they find you on Twitter?
You can find me at Laker793 on Twitter, and you could also find Park Fanatics on Instagram, on Twitter, on Vine, and on Periscope. All at Park Fanatic.
Everything. We're on anything you could think of. And you could follow me at The Coaster Roll on Twitter. I'd love to chat with you.
And remember, guys, don't just be a fan.
Be a fanatic.
Ah!